You're probably tired of hearing about racism, right? Well, believe me, Black people are tired of experiencing it. We'd love to go a day in our life without having to talk about race or even think about it, but that's usually not possible. Because racism is institutionalized, so deeply rooted in societal norms and official policies meant to suppress people of color that it's often not even recognized. But you're not racist, right? Some of your closest friends are Black. You even dated Black people in the past. You don't see color. You love everyone, right? Well, that's great. Spread the love. But it's important that we embrace our differences and that we understand the history that created them. So let's start with the UK, because it's not innocent at all. And if you think everything that's happening in the world right now is restricted to the US, you're in for a surprise. British colonialism is the reason we have systemic racism in the United States. Did you know that by the start of the 20th century, the British Empire controlled 24% of the total landmass in the world? That's a fourth of the entire planet controlled by one country. Now, you've probably heard of the transatlantic slave trade, but did you know that slaves existed right here on British soil? And that the government just finished paying off Brits for their loss of property a few years ago? You're probably aware of the civil rights movement in the US, but are you aware of the Bristol bus boycott or the Notting Hill riots? We teach kids that explorers are to be revered as the patron saints of history, and we celebrate them, dedicating holidays and statues to them. But in reality, we're just celebrating slave traders who raped and pillaged already existing communities to further Western European empires. Now again, you probably know about the racial history of the US, but let's review a little bit of it. Slaves picked cotton, we had a civil war, Lincoln freed the slaves. He didn't. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, you're made aware of a lot of this history. But did you know that Black people were used like circus animals at fairs? People would come to see them in cages or throw balls at them like a fair game. But that was years ago, right? Ages ago. And Obama was elected president, so racism can't really be that much of a thing, right? Sure, racism can be over. Blackface, lynchings, the KKK, but more often than not, it's covert and socially acceptable behavior that's problematic. Like calling the police on Black people for no reason, or disproportionately high rates of incarceration for people of color, or poor access to education and poor access to economic wealth, poor outcomes in the healthcare industry, or English-only initiatives, housing discrimination, racist company logos. The list is endless. So you might be thinking, if society is so fucked from centuries of white supremacy, what can you do? Well, first, it's understanding that race plays a role in much more than you might think, and in more places than you might be aware of. Whether it's the UK or the US, Europe or Australia, or wherever white people form the majority, there are policies, institutions, and other crippling forms of legal oppression against people of color. So we need your help. Donate to organizations fighting for racial equality. Vote. Educate yourselves. Protest. Sign petitions. Talk to your public officials. There are so many resources available on this website to help you figure out how you can be a better ally. But it's important to realize this isn't someone else's problem to fix. So let's do this together.